I'm BrianTheBlue, and welcome back to Current Calamities, where I take a break from the past to look forward to the future with the games of the present. WarioWare, get it together! The anti-Mario is back with another Ware game where we can play all games he and his wacky friends made. I tell you, this was the biggest highlight for me on the June Nintendo Direct. When I saw it, I can assure you my reaction was appropriate. Longtime viewers will know I'm a huge fan of Wario and his games of all types, and WarioWare is no exception. Though I've only looked over the original so far, I put many hours in Smooth Moves, Touched, and the last release Gold, which came out 3 years ago. But now we have the latest game that Wario made, and God, I wish it came out sooner, so my schedule could align, but I also couldn't wait to play it. I always have a fun time playing these games, and I expect it to be no different here. So let's not waste any more time. Hope you don't care about spoilers, because I'm gonna blast them away with my ass gas. I myself tried to stay away from as much info as I could besides the trailers, as I think these games are best played without knowing what you're getting into. That way you can react to all the hysterical insanity that'll ensue. Wario and crew are at it again with another game complete, but not working completely, and in a turn of events they all get sucked into the game the proper way with lips, transformed to minuscule versions of themselves in the process. And that's all you really need to know. The rest is pretty much self-explanatory. Y'all have played WarioWare before, right? Right?
Mamma mia!
But as you continue into the story mode, Wario will find a few of his dev friends and find glitches affecting the games they've made. And the only way to get rid of them is to defeat them, obviously. And that's what they and we are going to do. So like most WarioWare games, each section is comprised of a selection of microgames, games that last anywhere between 5 to 10 seconds, and they all may have a common theme, albeit a little loose. Where it changes is how you can play these games with Wario and his crew. As you can see, each member of the WarioWare team has his or her or its own playstyle. It doesn't get as complicated as moving with the left stick and using the A button. I was a little disappointed that I couldn't use the directional buttons as opposed to the stick, but that's a minor, yet major complaint. Mark your calendars now to see how long it takes for these Joy-Cons to get drift. To give you an example of how the characters can control differently, you'll notice Wario can fly around freely with his jetpack and do his shoulder tackle, Young Cricket can jump but gravity weighs him back down, and 18-Volt stays stationary but can aim and shoot his disc hat as much as he wants. You'll be able to try their abilities as you get them in a mini tutorial of sorts. But if you're having issues controlling just a stick and button, we're gonna have to demote you back to the Atari 2600. I know some consider that a punishment. When you complete a few microgames, the action shall speed up. Complete several more and there'll be a boss stage for you to beat. They'll be more like mini-games with multiple, simple tasks for you to do, but it usually won't be as difficult as the regular microgames. And when you're done with that, you'll progress in the story by getting rid of the glitch that caused all your troubles, and you can move on. I sometimes wonder how much Nintendo pays attention to the outside gaming sphere, cause this concept sounds familiar. Oh, and you also get some Wario coins. Don't panic just yet. We'll get to them later. I also want to say that we're going to speed things up from here as there's more to explain further in the game, so we're going to pick up the pace. Hope you can keep up. So as you progress in the story, you'll run into more of Wario's employees along the way, each section having their own microgames and each character having their own playstyle. You'll be forced to play as each new character as you go along, but you're able to choose others to go with them, and my best advice is to choose the best, as some may be better than others. Don't let that last sentence be misconstrued. All the microgames can be played with all the characters, but I found that some characters can get through specific ones better. Take 9-Volt for example, the Nintendo super fan and who'd I'd most likely be if I were to cosplay anyone, but they kinda did him dirty here. His microgames are still good with all the Nintendo references, but how he controls is a downer. He moves constantly from left to right, and you can only use a button to swing his yo-yo upward. Again, every microgame can be played with him, but you'll find he's a bit tougher to control than, let's say, Dribble. You can't play as Spitz as he's meant for the second player, but you can easily use Dribble to get through microgames no problem. I would comment on the 2-player aspect, but you guys know the deal. I'm the only one that plays, and I also lock the door. I get a real strong vibe of this being somewhat of a remake of the first game. I at least got that from the world map, as that looks similar. You'll also notice several microgames call back to past WarioWare games, but they do that all the time, so I may be overthinking it, but you might get that vibe too, as the microgame themes for each character are the same as well. Mona still has That's Life, Kat and Anna are still in love with nature. Actually, I take that back, not everyone is the same, as Ashley's theme is on food. Is that why she turned her teacher into a spoon? When you get far enough in the story, you'll have a remix stage to tackle, then you can continue finding more friends and getting rid of more glitches. For the most part, I was able to get through each section on my first try, but I started to struggle a little going into the second half. Every section allows you to get by with a couple screw-ups, but if you screw up a 4th time, your run will be done, unless you want to continue where you left off, which will cost you some coinage, which—
What? Nintendo? What are you doing? Why have you gone down the path of microtransaction? Well, these are microgames, so it actually makes sense.
But I'm telling you, it's not worth it, and it's better to start over, as that's how you get good, and the coins serve a greater purpose later on in the game. You may have to do a few do-overs when you get this far, but you'll get the hang of the new microgames in no time flat, and you'll figure out which characters are better at getting through most of these microgames the best, and I find it funny that they have a little exchange as they switch places.
Take that! Why not? You're big. Of course, I win.
One of the things I noticed was the dialogue, or at least the speaking portion of it, was reduced a bit compared to Gold when they introduced full-on voice acting for everyone. Now they're limited to saying the first thing in their text boxes or small phrases, but I don't mind it either way. It's almost like the first game in this respect too, but I wish they had their old voice sounds. The game has also started saying what needs to be done for every microgame. Usually it'd be silent commands, but I don't mind this change either. It'll keep the players more attentive or help those that are illiterate.
I learned how to read through video games, not by books, unless they had pictures.
Now, once you've beaten up more glitches and found more of your team, you'll have another remix and then the final level where anything goes, meaning this last section will be the toughest yet. And it seemed like it was going to turn into a whole other genre with the way the cutscene was going, but you still have microgames to complete and a super glitch to defeat, culminating in a battle in and out of the games, and when it's all said and done, we let the bug live.
Because even Wario knows how a bug can make a game fun. Why do you think Space Invaders was so popular?
As it turns out, this supreme developer had called us into the game to rid the bugs that he couldn't take care of himself.
i.e., he was the one that sucked us.
And now that the task is done, we're able to go back to the real world and ponder why these glitches got into the game in the first place. And wouldn't you believe that Wario was the cause of it? No doubt got some viruses from the illegal microgames he downloaded.
And that's where the story ends. It took almost 2 hours to do, but it was a fun time like it usually is. But the game is far from over, for there's a lot more outside of the story to keep you busy.
Hell, the story doesn't end either, for there's still a few of our friends trapped in the game, so we have to rescue them in this epilogue of sorts. What this really does is unlock common endgame bonuses like the elevator remixes and fight a new threat that I won't bother spoiling for you, and no, it isn't just a big poo. It's a familiar character that WarioWare fans will be slightly surprised to see. Plus, though I'm not a big fan of how Penny controls, I'm glad her stage was chosen to have a continued theme running throughout. I always like those, and the song is pretty good too.
She's got her hair tied up in braids and glasses perched up on her face. She is a small girl taking on a big world with the invention she made.
Outside of the story, there's still so much more to do. I started with the variety pack where there's more long-form mini-games, a few of which take a microgame concept and extend it. They're all competent from the few I could play, but most were two-player experiences that I can't dive into at the moment. Playopedia is where you can see all the microgames you have unlocked, and you can even play them to set a personal best with each character. And speaking of which, Crew is where you can put those coins to good use to get special prizes that I imagine would act the same as they do in Touch as they would in real life. Or maybe you're supposed to give them to the characters to help move them up in the rankings or unlock other customization options?
I'm intrigued yet confused, but that's not uncommon when playing WarioWare.
But now that the story's over, how do you get more coins? Well, a couple different ways. One is to either replay story stages to get some coins Super Monkey Ball style. There's also missions that are basically achievements to go for, and each can either be simple or painstakingly challenging as you keep going farther. The Wario Cup has its own rotating challenges for you to earn more coins and advance in level ranking, kinda like the new brain training that came out 2 years back.
Did you know they released this 2 years ago? Why didn't they release it in the States? I love Dr. Kawashima.
And that's WarioWare in a nutshell, still retaining the same charm we know and love with a very different way to play. You can bet I'll be playing this for the next couple months. I want to see all the other weird crap that I can unlock and set personal bests on each microgame section of the story. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who takes this as seriously as others, but I'll be the first to go over 100 on one of these because I'm just as greedy as my friend. Wow!
So, with all that being said, what's my overall opinion?
My excitement, I'm happy to say, was warranted, as the game matched my enthusiasm and what I primarily expected. While I don't think it's the best one of the series by far, it's still a fun entry. WarioWare Get It Together keeps the formula we love and adds a mechanic to keep it somewhat fresh. While some of the characters are a little tough to get the hang of, it's still easy to control, and you can get used to all their quirks with enough practice. And you're going to need to as well with all the other crap to do after the story ends. With a lot of replay value to be had, there's no way you'll get bored of seeing Wario and crew getting through all the microgames old and new. Be sure to have this game on your radar, but with all that out of the way, I just have to ask, can another Wario Land game be on the way soon? Many are still asking for it. You have a whole cast to play with here, and a zany setting. Come on, Nintendo! I'd settle for no F-Zero or Mother 3 or another Star Fox if you gave us more Wario. So what do you think? Do you agree with me, or have your own thoughts? Let me know by leaving a comment. If you like what you see, like the video with those thumbs up. If you think anyone else would like this vid, share it around. And if you want to see more of me, this show, and others, hit the subscribe button. I'm BrianTheBlue, thanks for watching. I'm going back to the past, and until next time, I'll see you in the future.